Scanning for audio.
Welcome once again to the Tin Dog Podcast, number 140. Yes, in 10 episodes' time, we'll be celebrating our 150th episode. But considering we're in our 4th year, that's absolutely fine. I'd like to thank everyone for their feedback about the review of the Hoovers 2 convention. And before I begin this week's review, I just want to say that I'm now back on Twitter. My old account is defunct, so if you were following me under my old name, that won't be coming back. If you were following me under my old name, that won't be coming back. The account you need to look for is tin, T-I-N, _dog, _podcast. I look forward to joining you then. Because very shortly, we're going to have SoloCon. Yes, the convention that several months ago I discussed, where everyone has a Doctor Who convention on their own in their own house, and then tweets about their own experiences of the convention. We're going to have one day, very shortly, set aside, one Saturday or Sunday, where we'll have the convention. Everyone can be in their own homes and tweet about it all day. If you say that you'd like to be on the SoloCon list, I'll add you to it, and that way we can all compare notes and talk to each other about the convention. There'll be more information on that as I know it. Also, very soon, there's going to be a Tin Dog podcast with 2 hosts. It's a one-off experiment, but I'm sure you'll enjoy it. But enough nonsense. Let's talk about Big Finish. Yes, I know it's been a while, and that's a regret I'll have to fix at some point. But this and the last 2 months have seen a trilogy of stories. Peter Davison has returned to us, and The Crowded TARDIS, though not the group that we associated with the term The Crowded TARDIS. No, here we have a set of 3 stories consisting of the 5th Doctor, Tegan, Turlough and Nissa. Now, Turlough joining the group signalled the end of Nissa's time. They didn't exactly spend a lot of time together. So when does this story take place? Well, oddly, it takes place just before the 5 Doctors, and just after Nissa's left. In Nissa's personal time stream, she's actually been left by the Doctor for more than 50 years. She's almost 70, but being from Trocken, she hasn't aged that much. The actress still sounds like she did back in the 1980s, so it really doesn't matter. Suffice to say that the character is considerably more mature, and more on an equal footing with the Doctor. Thus, in these audio stories, when she's split up with a companion, mostly Turlough in these 3 stories, she gets to play the Doctor-ish part, explaining things to him and to the audience, while the Doctor and Tegan are usually paired together, which is odd, because we know that as far as Davison's concerned, his favourite companion, or the person that he saw as ideal to be the companion, was always Nissa. As I've said, there are 3 stories, and in my reviews of these, I will be discussing some spoilers. So suffice to say, if you don't want to hear the spoilers, they're all very good, they're all well worth a listen, and they're all fairly well self-contained. Buy all 3 and listen to them by all means. But I really can't discuss them without talking about a few spoilers here and there, so be warned. Here's the trailer for the first one, Cobwebs.
Coming soon from Big Finish Productions, Doctor Who, Cobwebs.
Yes, sterile atmosphere, gravity normal. Let's take a look outside, shall we?
I thought I saw something move near the access shaft.
I don't want to alarm you, but there's something in the ship with us.
Oh, great. Another gloomy corridor.
Warning! Threat mode activated.
What are you doing here? This is a top security facility.
I don't take orders from saboteurs.
You have to stop this. It's cold-blooded murder.
Everyone in this station is going to end up dead.
Whatever you do, Tegan, don't move.
Oh! Get them off me! Get them off me! Help! Help me!
Is that the best you can do? This is my life you're talking about. Turlough's life, Nissa's life, your life.
I always knew you would return one day. That the four of you would come back to me. Tegan, Nissa, Turlough, and the Doctor.
Oh, cobwebs, yes. Odd that.
Subscribers get more at bigfinish.com.
I've often talked about Big Finish stories having a shopping list to go through. This story, we must have Nissa return to the fold, we must have Tegan re-established as a companion, we must have Turlough and Tegan's relationship re-established in the listener's ears, and we must have a story of its time. You see, when it comes to Big Finish, the Sixth Doctor has been allowed to grow, which is why I enjoyed his later stories rather than the missing stories, because Colin put in such a good performance at trying to recreate his time on TV that it made me a little bit sad, and I missed the later Sixth Doctor. The Seventh Doctor's later stories all seem to take place during the times that the Virgin and Missing Adventures are set, after the series. Space to Grow, Paul McGann's stories by their very nature are mainly audio-based and have been allowed again for the character to grow within the boundaries. But the Fifth Doctor, and especially sandwiching it so perfectly into an unseen continuity gap, means that the characters and the stories must have more of a feel of the TV show than we've known. The first story is perhaps the most, well, forgive the term, timey-wimey of the three. It has some remarkably nice, small character pieces. Nissa's personal robot, the sentient computer that runs the base. The whole story and the atmosphere has the feel, if not the setting, of Warriors of the Deep. It has similarities with Ark in Space, but it also has touches of the new series, and none of these can be truly bad things. I'm not completely convinced by Janet's recapturing of Tegan. This isn't a bad thing. Let's face it, she's only done it once before, and this is considerably better than the last Janet Fielding story. She does have the feel of the original Tegan, but I'd forgotten how annoying the original Tegan was. I was listening to these stories in the car, and my wife did comment repeatedly that Tegan is nothing more than a toddler, not wanting to do things, wanting to stamp her feet. She is Lucy in Space from Charlie Brown, but Lucy's a child, and so is this Tegan. Emotionally, she does need to develop. Now, in the third story, that kind of gets to happen, but we'll get to that one when we get to it. Yes, there's a base, yes, there's a time loop, yes, there's a causality effect thing to be dealt with. Yes, it's not dealt with as elegantly as I would like, but that's all right. There is a disease wandering the universe. Nissa is trying to save the day, and Nissa is more than capable of solving it herself. Yes, as an introductory story for a trilogy, it's genuinely not bad. But I did have to rewind the last 5 chapters of the last episode just to make sure I got my head around exactly what was happening. Not that it was confusing, but I did have to pay slightly more attention than usual. Moving on to the second story, The Forest.
Coming soon from Big Finish Productions, Doctor Who, The Whispering Forest.
Who are these takers?
Well, they've never been seen, not properly. They walk like men, but are more than men, so the stories go.
No one taken has ever been found. Body snatchers.
I won't be taken! Do you hear me? I won't let you!
Please, we've only just arrived here.
Yes, from the lands beyond the river. The Taker and his acolyte.
Jeston, please, you're hurting me.
The unclean shall always be barred from true purity.
Let him go, Jeston.
My purity shines in beads of blood, girl.
We're not plague carriers.
Turlough! Turlough! Stop it! You'll kill him!
What's that noise?
It's almost like voices.
Subscribers get more at bigfinish.com.
Here we have that saggy second story. Similar in many respects to the last Sylvester McCoy trilogy, the second story didn't quite feel right. It's a perfectly good story, don't get me wrong. Don't doubt the ability of the writers or the production company. It sounds good, it has a very strong storyline. It feels more like Full Circle, with again some nods to the new series, the Green Crescent being the medical ship, and voices speaking through the dead, a bit like the Gelf. As well as feeling like Full Circle, there are flashes of State of Decay. Turlough's characterisation is as strong as ever. Janet goes through the motions as being Tegan, and is better than she was in the first play. The Doctor is perhaps at his most doctorish here, trying to solve problems, but it's nice to note that because you can't see the people on the screen, their hideous appearance works slightly better. Things that would get people writing to the BBC in their droves if it was seen can just exist in your imagination. The second story does lead directly into the third. Here's the trailer for that.
Coming soon from Big Finish Productions, Doctor Who, The Cradle of the Snake.
Bored with the same old routine? Had all your hopes dashed? Dreams gone flat?
Nissa called it the Mara.
The Mara, yes. I think perhaps it's in all of us, deep in our darkest thoughts.
Now the latest technological advances can change all that. Suddenly, nothing need be out of reach again.
You may feel a slight tingling, a little like itching on the inside, but that's nothing to worry about.
I'm recommending closure of your project pending a further full investigation.
I believe we're on the edge of a revolution in therapy and entertainment, and tomorrow night, that dream comes true.
Something's happening.
Not happening, you mean? It's gone chilly.
Like the world catching its breath.
Wickedness is born. It comes into the world.
I'm Rick Ausgarden. Join me tomorrow at 8 for Dreamerama, live on the Sundown Channel, when I'll prove that we are such things as dreams are made on.
Takes two to play the game, Doctor. Come and find me.
Tegan!
You'll never be the same again.
I was there before, remember? On Manusa. I know what you're going through.
You can't even begin to know.
Subscribers get more at bigfinish.com.
Any story concerning Janet Fielding's Tegan and having the word snake on the title has a bit of a giveaway as to who the villain's going to be. Yes, the Mara's back, and you know what? I cared slightly less this time than I did the other times. Yes, the Mara does allow Janet to have silly voices, of which she's extremely good at. Here, again, she's finding her feet a lot more with Tegan, but it's the story that really kind of falls apart. Oh look, we've landed on the planet where the Mara eventually takes over in a couple of 100 years. Oh look, we've travelled back in time too far, and we have the Mara on board. I wonder if that's connected. Oh no, it's not, says everyone, and as a listener you're sitting there going, I really would have gone somewhere else. I really would have thought of something else. And the society just doesn't feel like the same one seen in either of the other Mara stories. Yes, of course the snake does look better on audio, but because of my lack of imagination, I'm still placing the not particularly exciting snake seen in Kinder straight into this story. The actor worth mentioning the most in this story is Davison himself. As I said, this is full of spoilers, so when he's playing someone a bit possessed, you really kind of, well, embrace it. His performance manages to pull off, yes, I'm speaking with the same voice, but I am a completely different character, remarkably well. It's the sort of thing that actors do like to do, showing the audience that they're not just several tricks. No, they know what they're doing, and they should be allowed to get on with it. As with the other stories, you have to listen to the end slightly more than usual. The eventual destruction of the monster, well, you can let it go. And it is still set up to continue the narrative, so I'm sure we may get yet another trilogy next year. I'm not sure this trilogy format works. I'd much rather they were set up. For example, in January you would have a 5th Doctor, February a 6th Doctor, 7th Doctor, 8th Doctor in that order, because McGann's stories are going back and to be part of the full range. Thus, every one of the Doctors currently working for Big Finish, obviously excepting for Tom, gets to go in a 4-monthly cycle. Everyone gets a trilogy next year. Therefore, you can hire all the actors for 3 days each, for 3 or 4 days each. Let's call it a week for extra shots. And you get a year's worth of output. You pace it out more. You can still have your trilogies by all means, but make them more of an event, rather than going, right, I'm not really involved in this major story arc, but I've still got 2 more months to go while I'm invested in this same story arc. This is not to say that these are bad stories at all. I've enjoyed them all enormously. Hearing Janet, the first major TV crush of my life, back in the role has been wonderful. But perhaps I've grown up a little bit, and I need slightly more from Tegan. How we get more from Tegan, I just don't know. But hopefully this won't be the end of things, and we will have more once they can all get back together again. I've rambled a lot, so what I'll do is I'll stop talking, and I'll speak to you all very soon, possibly with somebody else standing next to me. So until next time, be seeing you. You have been listening to the Tin Dog Podcast. Doctor Who and its associated shows are all trademark of the BBC. No infringement is intended. Contact us at tin-dog@hotmail.co.uk.